Cleveland sucks. Cleveland sucks. Cleveland sucks. Yes, welcome back to the Northern Steel Podcast, episode 90. And I know, Derek, you're not a Steelers fan. Also, Derek Fletcher's here. But,
what's up?
Derek, name number 90. I know you can do it. Please, you don't need to be a Steelers fan to know number 90. Please, Derek.
Swan.
Nah, God damn it.
James Harrison.
No. TJ Watt, man. Welcome to the TJ Watt episode. Number
the
90.
Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt.
Absolutely. Thank you. Respectfully, the Defensive Player of the Year. Absolutely. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. We're fresh off a victory off of the stinky, smelly, terrible Cleveland Browns. The Steelers are now 10-3, and we're going to talk about that game, maybe talk about some other NFL stuff because, you know, talking about the Steelers beating the Browns, it's just a 21-year straight thing. It's kind of boring. We've been doing it for so long. We can talk about some other stuff too. But before we get into all of that, like always, we're going to go through the highlights. So if you're too busy trying to wash the stink off of you with the sludge from Lake Erie, I have the highlights just for you. Week 14, Steelers versus Browns, a highly anticipated matchup before the season, except somebody only has 3 wins. And without the linebacker slipping in the snow, Alex Highsmith gets the easy sack on Winston. Then in the Steelers' following possession, they hand it off to Najee, who follows his great blocking for a big gain up the sideline. After the big gain, though, the Steelers' offense does stall, and MVP Chris Boswell trots out there for an easy 3 points, putting Pittsburgh on top. On the Browns' next possession, however, they do actually find some rhythm, as Jameis throws a deep slant to Elijah Moore for a big completion down the field. And then on a 3rd and 9, Winston is going to evade the pressure. He's going to run to his left, avoiding all the sacks, throw it deep down the field on a dime to Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy coming off of a giant game along with Winston as well. Look, this Browns team is still ass, but they are so lucky Watson is hurt because at least Winston can be productive, and at least Watson is making guaranteed money off of these bums. Keep him on the team, Browns, and keep on suffering. Speaking of suffering, too many Browns fans were getting really hyped up about Jameis, like he doesn't throw picks to hurt the team. I mean, this guy has had a 30-30 season, for God's sake. Do you think he should be the starter next year? Well, careful what you wish for, because Keanu Benton picks it off. Classic Winston and classic Browns. The Steelers then find themselves in the red zone and hand it off to Najee Harris, who forces his way in, a Deshaun Watson tactic, for the touchdown. Steelers up 10-7, and I'm already confident they win. Steelers get the ball back and they hand it off to Jaylen Warren, who keeps spinning and spinning and spinning like your little brother who just started playing Madden. Spamming that circle button, but when it works, it works. This will set up Boswell for a 54-yard field goal, and unlike other AFC North kickers, especially another one in this game, Boz makes it look easy. Oh, it's nice having the best kicker in the game. On the Browns' next possession, call them a masseuse because they are taking another sack. Cam Hayward this time, who is making a real case for DPOY, gets the sack, and the Browns continue to struggle. They do, however, escape some pressure a couple plays later, just like they did before, and Jameis is able to get a first down on the run on a 3rd and 12. Surely they get points here, but the Browns kicker misses bad, and they go into the half down 13-7. First play out of the half, though, it's a big kick return for the Browns. Momentum going their way. He's down the sidelines, breaking tackles, and almost takes it all the way to the house. But he gets tackled into the scoring territory. So surely they score here, right? No, Hopkins misses again. Great pickup, Browns. Now let's show you how a real franchise does it. On the Steelers' next possession, facing a 3rd down, Russ escapes the pocket, rolls to his right, and before crossing the line of scrimmage, throws a dart to Freiermuth. And Jaylen Warren has been coming alive in this game, and on this drive, he rips off another big run. This is how you know the Browns suck, because later in the red zone, Russ does an RPO and finds Van Jefferson, of all people, in the end zone for a touchdown. Y'all really gonna let Van Jefferson score a touchdown? I thought this defense was supposed to be good. I hope Cleveland sells the team again. Laughing stock of a league-ass franchise. On the Steelers' next drive, Mike Williams is now getting into it, and he's catching one-handed passes on Martin Emerson's bum ass as well. This team cannot be stopped. Everyone's getting involved. And then later, Russ fires a laser to the truth at Freiermuth over the middle for a touchdown. George Pickens didn't have to play in this game, and the Browns are still getting B to A. That's belt to ass for the oldies out there. And we don't even need our best players to whoop this sorry team, 27-7. On the Browns' next possession, Winston gets sacked again by Cam Hayward. And honestly, let's just wrap this up, man. I don't want to waste any more time on this team. Browns get a touchdown. Steelers, Patterson fumbles. Winston throws another pick. Who could have guessed that? Me. And then another Garrett sack, and he shushes the crowd down 13. Like the embarrassing story loser he is, Kadarius Toney the next play fumbles the punt return. Steelers get the ball back around the clock. Cleveland suck chant is in full effect, and it's a sweet 21-year straight drought that I never get tired of. Steelers win 27-14. Derek, what say you?
Boring game, but my thoughts were from kind of flipping back and forth. I was watching the Vikings while watching this game.
Big game.
Big game. One was a little more entertaining than the other one, but
yeah, I'll say.
Kadarius Toney really outdid himself there. You'd think if you were returning punts, you're just like, "Okay, just fair catch, just literally don't do." Oh gosh, now I'm doing it again.
It's coming off of when he the punt he had before that. He taunted that same guy who recovered the fumble, Ben Skowronek. He taunted him by throwing the ball in his face. So he had a taunting penalty on that guy and then dropped the ball in front of him. And he was waived today by the Browns, and he did not wave back. So see you later, Kadarius Toney. Adios.
I think that's it. I think that's a wrap on his career.
I would say so.
Maybe The Rock will pick him up and he can play in the USFY. Yeah.
Sure.
Or whatever
LGB.
that is.
Oh, wait, no, it's a different league.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sidetracked. It wasn't the most exciting game. It started off really slow. I was actually texting my family as I usually do during the games, and both Russ and Jameis just could not hit any receiver at all. Just bad pass after bad pass. I mean, I think there was a point where Russ was like borderline 2 for 11. And I texted the group and I said, maybe not bench him for Justin, but I was like, look, if Pickens is hurt and he's our main guy and he can't throw it to anybody right now, no one's getting open, maybe we need to throw Justin here to use his legs because we're not getting any passes going. And then Russ turned it on, and he didn't light up the stat sheet. He only had 140 yards, maybe 150.
Yeah,
but he started throwing balls, started making plays that counted, still throwing it deep. People were still making plays, and he still got the job done.
Yeah, right away. I mean, he had 15 yards or something, but he was like 2 for 11 or something. But he ended the game. It was like 15-26, 155, and 2 touchdowns. And I mean, once again, did it all without his number one. Scotty Miller, Mike Williams, and Freiermuth kind of made up their receiving core there, and they beat a bad team. Good teams beat bad teams. One's 10-3, one's 3-10. But they didn't have all their weapons. They kind of let the defense kind of win the game, and I think this is kind of the theme for the Steelers in general, but especially this year. Their highs haven't been too high, and their lows haven't been too low, and I think that's what you want to see going into the playoffs. Or
are you calling them mid?
No, well, I mean, people on the internet might call them that, but let's see what happens in January, because there is a team where the highs are really high. I don't know where the quarterback throws for 3 touchdowns, rushes for 3 touchdowns, and they still lose, and the Steelers win. And now what? We might be a 2 seed. Maybe we're a 1 seed.
The path is definitely there for the Steelers to grab a 2/1 seed if they can keep winning. We'll get into why, especially this weekend. I think it's going to be extremely tough in a little bit. But I mean, I agree. I agree. It wasn't like it was still a kind of a BTA kind of game. 27-14. They handled them. The Browns made a lot of mistakes. Their kicker sucked. I mean, and all these mistakes more so than in the snow game, which is insane. They played perfectly in the snow and they couldn't do anything like on normal grass. But yeah, I would say like Russ being able to do what he did without Pickens, the receivers being able to step up. Scotty Miller, like you said, he made a great catch on the sideline. Najee had some great runs at first, kind of slowed down a bit, but that's okay because I, unlike a lot of fans, like a two-headed monster that they have there. And if Najee's starting to slow down, Jalen Warren comes in and picks it up. That's just great. Jalen's doing his thing.
Couldn't agree more. I was going to say the exact same thing. I did text you during the game and I said, Warren, RB1?
Yeah, you're annoying.
Yep.
Everybody online.
Yep. I don't think that. I actually don't think that. But it's nice to have another running back. I think every team needs a two-headed monster. Unless you have Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry, you need another running back.
Yeah, absolutely. And Patterson has usually done well. He didn't do great last game because he did fumble, but he usually has done well too. So that's also like another relief situation running back. So they have all the tools there to be good. And I'm glad they could beat the Browns. I'm glad they eliminated the Browns from the playoff officially. Hilarious. Browns fans want to boast about Myles Garrett having 4 sacks in their matchup and TJ Watt doing nothing. That's classic loser mentality. Classic coping, classic crying. Myles Garrett said he was upset that the fans were chanting Cleveland sucks at the end. And he said, keep that same energy for next year. They'll see us. They'll see us next year. Yeah, Garrett, that's how goddamn divisions work. We will see you next year. This energy's been this way since 2020. And when they win again, the Cleveland sucks chant will come out. Also, I just want to say this out here too. Because we get 6 listens an episode. So, this flack probably won't come back to bite me in the butt. And even if this blows up for whatever reason and people are like, that's a bad opinion, Dom, I actually don't care. Listen, I don't know if you saw Wyatt Teller. He's a Browns lineman and he's the Browns guard. He's a very good Browns guard. His wife had tweeted that she had never been more disrespected and verbally assaulted in a game other than the Steelers game at Acrisure Stadium, where fans were being mean to her and her family and other girlfriends and wives. 1, I'm not entirely sure that's true. 2, if it is, hot take, I actually don't give a shit at all.
That's rivalries. Okay,
it is. I don't care.
It always happens. There's always somebody that's like, and the fans, the other team's fans that won were just boo. It's like, okay, well, this is a game.
And we hate each other.
Yeah.
I talk so much smack on them, just to catch you up. I talk so much smack after they won. Like I've been sending out mass tweets about telling people that their team sucks and that Cleveland sucks and they should suck. And they will suck for the rest of their lives. But Derek, I really used to have a soft spot for Cleveland. I really used to want them to win because they were so bad for so long. And then they had one good year. One good year. And they went to the playoffs and they beat the Steelers in Heinz Field. And then every Browns fan forgot how to act. They forgot that they've had 40, 50, 60 plus years of losing football teams and are like, we're good. We're good. We've always been good. And now it's time to talk trash. And they infuriate me more than any other rivalry in the division. I always want them to lose now. I hate them. I hate all the decisions they make. And everything that bad happens to them from here on out is deserved, in my opinion. You got to know how to act.
Yeah. But I mean, you did have one thing wrong. You said one good year. And I mean, yeah, they got rid of Baker, but then they got their quarterback. And that quarterback threw so many touchdowns and led them to the playoffs. And he was awesome. But they forgot to pay him.
Wait, you're not talking about. You're not talking about the
Super Bowl
guaranteed
MVP?
guy.
Yeah, Super Bowl MVP Joe Flacco.
Comeback player of the year?
Yeah.
That's the guy that signed to a big contract, right?
Right. Didn't they?
Oh, was it? Oh, no, it was the other guy with 28 allegations and sucks ass.
Woof.
Yeah, like they should have kept Baker. They all these things are that this happened to him now is completely deserved. And you got to know, you just got to. They've never been there before, so clearly they don't know how to act. But you got to know how to like take those things in stride. Like even with the Steelers being 10-3, I am getting excited. I'm starting to feel the hype that maybe the Steelers could go the distance. I'm starting to feel a little bit. However, there's still logic in there, and there's big hurdles to go over. We just talked about the Bills. I know you alluded to them with the 6 touchdowns. That's a very tough team. The Chiefs, you can never count them out. And the Steelers haven't won a playoff game in like 8 years. So it's not like I can really throw that out the window either. So there's I'm not sitting here being like, they're the best team in the NFL, because they're not. But there is hope that maybe they could turn it on when it matters most.
Your highs can't get too high, and your lows can't get too low.
They can't. They really can't.
So I don't know. The last several weeks that I've been actually following the Steelers a little more diligently, I do have to say the same thing. I'm getting hope for them. I'm like, oh, wait a second. I mean, now Russ has got even a larger, whatever, 7 games now or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's got 12 touchdowns, 3 picks. Justin Herbert, no disrespect, but he's got 14 touchdowns on the year. I know they're playing a different game. They're playing a totally different game. But if you go to passer rating, yards per attempt, like completion percentage, he's up there. But Russell Wilson is a top 10 quarterback right now.
Yeah, though he's playing great right now. He really is. And everything's kind of working out because, you know, me, I liked Justin Fields too. I didn't want to see the switch at the time. Obviously, I was wrong. A lot of people were wrong, though. And that's even working out too, because Justin Fields is now has played less than 50% of the snaps at quarterback. So that 4th round pick has now turned to a 6th round pick, and that's what's going to stay. So having Justin Fields for a 6th rounder is also better. That's been great.
And speaking of the Browns,
go ahead.
They signed a quarterback to a giant deal, and there's a lot of teams that have done that. One team that hasn't is the Steelers, and I think that helps them. I think we're going to slowly find out that it's like, oh, okay, we got to be really sure if we're going to like give these people somebody like bonkers money.
Totally.
But, it's not only looking good this year, but it's looking good for the next 2 or 3 years.
And when it comes down to what they're going to do in the future, I'm just gonna wait till the offseason. I'm not gonna think about that yet. There's so many ifs and ands and buts about what they could do with these quarterbacks. But I am, like I said, feeling hopeful for once about this year. So I'm just gonna live kind of now and focus on this year with that. And then go ahead.
So I was gonna say, so if we're gonna be now, what's coming up?
Well, a big 3-game stretch.
Okay, take us through it.
In the big 3-game stretch, they're starting this upcoming Sunday, they will have 3 games in a 10-day window or 11-day window. I don't know how the math works. Yeah, it's tough opponents: Eagles, Ravens, and Chiefs. But first, let's start with the Eagles, because that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to try to do episodes before the Ravens game, before the Chiefs game. I mean, the Chiefs one might be actually impossible to do. I might just do that one solo, because that is smack dab in the middle of Christmas season. It's going to be a tough gauntlet. But let's talk about the Eagles first, with Chris's favorite segment, Keys to the Game. Here are my keys to the game, Derek. In all honesty, before I tell you the keys to the game, I actually thought this is a game they would lose for weeks. I've been saying that. And now, without Pickens, I don't know if you've heard that, but he is out again for sure. Even more so. It's going to be very, very tough. However, Mike Tomlin made a good point in an interview, because when they deemed him out against the Browns, it was very last second. I think Scotty Miller and Ben Skoranek both were like, oh, I'm playing today now. And they had no idea they were playing. So now they get a week of preparation where they are part of the game plan. That doesn't mean that they're like studs, all these guys, but that does help because they were kind of surprised by it. So now they're game planning for these receivers, because Pickens he's going to be limited in practice and probably not be doing much with this hamstring injury. And hopefully it's not too long. That's what I've heard. I think Tomlin's hoping that he can play against the Ravens, and so am I. So, but I will pick them to win when we do our picks. but just know that logically, I just don't think they're going to win. But a key to the game, I think, is boy. I mean, one, the Eagles have a very tough secondary with the young players they have. Both Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean have been playing really well, but they're also their front seven's been good. Their defense in general has just been really good. They need to find some way to attack this team wherever it may be. We can go over the roster here in a second. But obviously the run game has been their biggest strength. The Steelers have been. They've been running the ball, but they cannot stay too one-dimensional. They kind of got that way against the Browns again. I think I read on 10 separate 2nd and 7s. They ran the ball on those downs, like a 2nd and 7 or larger. So like a 2nd and long, I guess. On 10 separate 2nd and longs, they ran the ball 9 of those times. And they usually run the ball on first down too. I know Georgia's going to be out. You got to keep it fresh. You got to keep mixing around, because if you stay the same, they're just going to stack the box and kill you all game long. Mike Williams has got to have a bigger game too. So there's, and hopefully with this week, maybe that happens. You know, I would say defensively, I don't know if you saw the potential beef between Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. Apparently, Brandon Graham went on an interview show and talked about how maybe they might be beefing, and then AJ Brown changed his profile pic to the Joker. I don't know what that means. They killed the Steelers last time they played them. Granted, Kenny Pickett was playing, but it was like 35-7 or something. Just crushed them. Hurts has not been playing as well lately. I hope that's the case. You can't really hope that's the case, but I guess like you're picking your poison between passing game and the run game, and Saquon's on another level right now. So if I had to focus on one thing, I would focus on Saquon. Because if you're going to let this Eagles team beat you, you might as well let Jalen Hurts beat you. He hasn't been playing as good as he has in the past couple of years, but Saquon's on another level right now. So focus on Saquon and see what happens from there. Obviously, pass rush is always part of it. Get the turnovers when you can get them. And then, but my last key to the game with this stretch coming up, and this is going to be a continuous key to all these games, is stay healthy, please. 3 tough games in a 10-day window. Stay healthy. Get out of it healthy. That's all I can ask for.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Yeah, I know we were talking about, the 1 seed, but it's like, no, they have like a 99% chance of making the playoffs. And then even if you look at, the worst case, oh my gosh scenario, I mean, you have like the Denver Broncos down there, and it's like, okay, right. Well, let's at least stay above that.
Who they've beaten.
Right. But my keys to the game are very similar to yours. I was going to say Scotty Miller and Mike Williams. And to kind of like build off of that, it would be time of possession. The Eagles can run the ball, but I think if you look at time of possession, last game against Cleveland, it was like 30 minutes and 30 minutes. However, Jameis threw 2 picks. I don't think you can rely on the Eagles making a lot of mistakes. So you better just hold the ball more. And I'm not saying hold the ball more. You'd say, oh, well, they need to run the ball. Yes, they do need to run the ball. That's not their problem. The problem would be that like the short passing game. So obviously Freiermuth, I think they have a good connection, but getting more reps with Scotty Miller and Mike Williams, I think they both need like 5-6 catches apiece just to kind of, I don't know, make way for what they're missing in Pickens. And on the other side, yes, AJ said all that stuff. Now people are saying like, well, look for him to get like 15 targets, 10 catches, 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's like, maybe Saquon is just going to get his because that's the kind of year he's having. But I don't know. Jalen Hurts is just not throwing for that many yards. He's not really doing that much. I think you could like if you keep him in contain and he's throwing 120 yards and Russ throws for 220, 240, like you're going to control time of possession. Maybe you are kicking field goals sometimes because you're being a little boring, but or maybe you're scoring touchdowns. Maybe he is going to do a little bit of those RPOs, bootlegs, and then throwing it like he did with Van Jefferson.
Maybe
they need to mix it up, and I think this is a good game to see kind of what they're made of without Pickens against an actual team.
Yeah, I it's gonna be tough. And when you talked about too, like I know obviously the 1 seed is a potential, right? But the Chiefs have to lose another one here before that happens. Um, at the end of the day, this is gonna sound weird, and I don't want them to lose. I want the Steelers to win because it shows that they can play in the playoffs or at least keep this game close. But if they do lose this game, that is not the end of the world because win or loss, the game against the Ravens next week is for the division. So even if the Steelers lose this week and the Ravens win, it doesn't matter. If the Steelers beat the Ravens next week, they win the division. That's all that matters. To be honest. So of course I want the Steelers to win. Of course I want them to try to push for a 2 seed or the 3 seed or whatever it may be. But if they drop this one, the sky's not falling yet. And with George Pickens being out and everything else, that might be the case. And also, the Steelers have not won in Philadelphia since before the 60s. I think 1959 or something. It's now they granted they play them like every 8 years, but I think they're 0-10 in Philadelphia. So they don't win there. it's tough. Look at their roster real quick. I mean, yeah, man. This the names on the names alone, top down, they're just like really good. Obviously, Jalen Hurts. Backup is my boy KP, Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett revenge game.
You got Saquon, obviously, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, even Jahan Dotson, who hasn't been playing well in general for the Commanders or the Eagles, but I really liked him coming out of college. I liked him a lot. I think he can be good. All those receivers are good, in my opinion.
Yep.
Tight end, they get a little bit of a break because Dallas Goedert's on IR. So you got Grant Calcaterra, who I'm sure he's just fine, but I don't know him that well. Their line is elite, been elite for a long time. Jordan Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Mekhi Becton, probably the weakest link, and Lane Johnson. Just a strong group. I mean, we want TJ Watt to make pressures and whatever else, but it's a tough group. And our D line's good, but that's gonna be a big matchup there. Our D line versus their O line. On defense, they also play a 3-4, which is surprising. I never see teams play 3-4 besides the Steelers. But they have Milton Williams, who don't really care for, but their other 2 people on the line are Jordan Davis, who's a stud, and Jalen Carter, who's a stud. At linebackers, they have Nolan Smith, who's very good. Zach Bond, who's pretty decent. Backup Jeremiah Trotter out of Clemson, who's good, has a rookie. Nakobe Dean, who I think is good. Josh Sweat, who is very good at linebacker. And then there's secondary. You got rookie Quinion Mitchell, who's had his own island this year. He's been a beast. With backups Keely Ringo and Eli Ricks, who are both very solid. CJ Gardner-Johnson at strong safety, who makes a lot of mistakes, but he's up and down. He's still good. He's up and down. Reed Blankenship, who's been having a good year. James Bradbury's on this team, but he's on IR. Darius Slade Jr. on the other side, who's been a stud for a long time. And then, of course, Cooper DeJean. I just top to bottom, they just seem, it's just a strong roster. It's very, very strong, which is why they're the second best team in the NFC, probably.
Ooh, ouch.
It's close, to be honest. I really do think so. It's close. I just think like on roster alone, that's how it feels, right?
Yes.
But like on the Vikings, I think their thing like solely depends on Darnold, because I actually don't think the Eagles are that well coached of a team, which sounds surprising because they've won 9 straight. I don't like their coach. I don't think he's that good, but I think they have so much talent that I think it makes up for it. Where the Vikings, I think, are a really well coached team. And I think the Vikings live or die with how Sam Darnold's going to play in those games, but I think they're a very well coached team.
Right. Maybe like last year. This is kind of where the Eagles fell off last year as well. Maybe this is another like, oh, we're actually kind of just a team of talented people, and now we're kind of fed up with this shit. The snow is hit. Maybe. God damn it. Ugh. Because when they were 4-2 and AJ Brown freaked out, something happened. Maybe this time he freaks out and something else happens. Kind of what I alluded to earlier. Your highs can't be too high and your lows can't be too low.
Yeah.
It's like they're 4-2. whatever, they were almost like 3-3. People were freaking out, and then they won 9 straight. And now what? Now you're gas is out of the tank. Jalen Hurts is only throwing for like 115 yards, and but yeah, they are still scary because Jalen Hurts is a gamer. AJ Brown is a gamer. Devontae Smith is a gamer. Saquon Barkley is going for history, I guess. It's weird that they bring that up, like, right. They're like, if he averages 120 yards a game, and it's like, that's hard to do.
That's a lot.
This far out. Like,
that's a lot. And Saquon too, like some Steelers fans are bringing up the last time the Steelers played Saquon, which was in 2020. And they were like, and Saquon, I think, had, I don't know, Derek, it was something like rough. I'll try to look it up. I'm pretty sure it was like 7 rushes for 5 yards.
Sure. What team was he on though?
Yeah, exactly. And also, but Mike Tomlin talked about this too. I'm disputing Steelers fans saying this, right?
Right.
Because Mike Tomlin was like, it was a young Daniel Jones, maybe a rookie Daniel Jones or a second year Daniel Jones, and they just he said it too. He goes, we put all of our defense strategy on stopping Saquon, and that's what they did. Like, they didn't care about what Daniel Jones did. They just put everything they had into stopping Saquon. He was 15 carries for 6 yards.
Yep.
Yeah, but like, they just made Daniel Jones try to beat them, and Daniel Jones had 279 yards, but he had 2 picks as well.
Can you do that with the Eagles though?
No, I don't think so. I'm just saying that, like, I'm disputing Steelers fans being like, they stopped Saquon last time, and it's like, yeah, but they're going against Daniel Jones, and they had like no weapons for the Giants. Now you have Jalen Hurts, who is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones, obviously. He's got tons of receiver weapons, a way better offensive line. I mean, it's gonna be tough. I do hope that if the Steelers do lose, I hope it's close. I hope it's competitive. And if the Steelers win, I mean, holy win-win, right? Because without George Pickens, they can find a way to win a game and get him back healthier. I mean, that's helping these other receivers develop. It's a win-win in my book.
Scotty Miller isn't nobody. Remember,
I agree. He's on the Buccaneers.
When he was on the Bucs, he had like that magical Super Bowl run where you thought he was not Wes Welker. You thought he was
Edelman,
Danny Amendola. That's
sure.
Just small white guy making Brady look good.
I mean, like I said, he had a great catch against the Browns. And I like Scotty too. The thing is like, it's just such a drop off when you don't have to worry about GP. You know, so you can. And I'm not saying Scotty Miller's bad. They're all professionals, right? And maybe with a week of practice, it gets it better. But like, GP is such a freak that like it is a drop off to where you don't have to put more people on him to stop him. You can kind of single everybody up, probably, right? But they just have to figure out how to win their battles. I also, like, you don't know this really because you don't know a team like this, but the Steelers also have a 3rd round wide receiver they drafted this year out of Michigan, who is a great route runner who I'd love to see, and he's been on IR, and there's no information about him. It's insane to me that he's been on IR and no one's been talking about if he'll ever play again this season. And I get it that he's a rookie and he's had 5 snaps this year, so I'm not expecting him to come in and light the world on fire. But like, don't you need some weapons? Don't you need any help you can get? You just don't, like, where is this dude? There's no updates about what's happening with him.
I feel last week they were giving people a warm up for this coming week here.
I agree.
I think Mike Williams and Miller, you're going to see more of it. I think if they thought this rookie was going to do anything, they probably would be like, hey, we're going to put you in against the Browns and just try to do something.
Well, he's still on IR, and also Tomlin like has some vendetta against him because he's like, here's another playbook because he's been hurt pretty much all year. And I get it. If he was to get a helmet, he'd be at like the 5th string receiver. And also because you don't want to take guys like Scotty Miller off the field for this rookie. You don't want to take guys like Ben Skoranek off the field because he's been such a good blocker. I get it. I'm just saying, like, there's been no info about this dude. And like, don't you want to have as many weapons as you can available to you? It's just insane to me. Anyways.
Well,
It's
Cordell
just insane to
Patterson.
me. Yeah, for sure. I'm just saying, like, as many weapons as possible. He's still playing. It's just insane to me. Especially there's no information. I'm like, he's been on IR for like forever, man. Like, but I don't think he's out for the year. There hasn't been any statement about that. I don't know. Whatever, dude. It's just bizarre. But regardless, yeah, tough game. See what happens. Get your dukes up. You ready? Battle of the Keystone State, as they like to call it. See what happens. Should we do some game picks and get out of here?
Hell yeah.
I want to watch some Hard Knocks. You know what I'm saying? Try to get
knock on wood if you're with me.
Try to get hard knocked. All right, let's start it up. Thursday, Rams at 49ers.
Oh,
that's a tough one.
I'm gonna keep riding with them. Even though I picked against them last week, but I think the Rams are gonna pull it off.
Yeah, well, of course you picked against them. Why would you pick them against the Bills? But I'm also gonna go Rams.
No, I feel like the vibe of their team is still, I don't know. Even last year, it was like, oh yeah, they went 10-7. I kind of forgot about that, and they almost beat the Lions.
They're very up and down. Like it's like 1 week they're like, oh man, this team actually maybe sucks, and then the next week they score 47 points against the Bills, and then you're like, oh, cool. It's kind of the same as the Niners though too. Like I think you and I both picked the Bears to beat the Niners, and then the Bears were horrific.
Well, maybe Eberflus did have a little something going on that we didn't know.
Jesus, God, what a world we live in.
I thought when the Jets coach Saleh got fired, I was like, oh, okay. Well, I think they're gonna like. It's always like when they fire a coach, you're gonna win the game, and this year is kind of shown not that.
So many just like bizarre decisions by teams and friends. I mean, not the Eberflus, but just teams and players in general. I still won't get over. I saw a stat today about Devontae Adams getting traded from the Raiders. So it was like lose to the Steelers, traded to Jets, lose to the Steelers, and then like lose to like all the other teams that beat the Texans since he's been there, and that's it. And it's like he was a potential person to join the Steelers, and it's like you chose poorly, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I mean, well, Niners and Rams are two teams that keep their core together, and yeah, they're having tough years, but there's still somehow in it. But I'm going to go Rams.
Did you see the Deebo Samuel tweet?
No.
Okay, he tweeted that he said, "I'm not having a bad year. I'm just not getting the ball." That's what he tweeted. And then I don't know if you're aware of what community notes on Twitter. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's for people who don't know, it's a feature on Twitter that because a lot of people spread fake news all the time, where people can add a community note to dispute what was being said with facts and a link to the facts. So he said that, and then he got a community note and said, actually, he leads the team in drops, and then a link to like the stat sheet. So very funny. I'm gonna go. It's tough. I think I'm gonna go Niners because it's at home. Because they have a good fan base. They're tough to play at home. So I'm gonna go Niners at home. But it's a coin toss. I don't know. It's tough.
I'm just going. I think I like the vibes of Puka and Kupp
I do too.
And Stafford versus
I love Puka
versus Ayuk and Debo, and then
Ayuk's not there. He's hurt. But yeah,
right. But like Ayuk and Debo are supposed to be their 1 and 2, and then Jennings in my flex is having quite a year. So
for sure,
he's gonna get paid somewhere.
For this, I'll say Niners, but when I actually decide on the picks that matter, I don't know. I'll figure it out. That's really tough for me. Commanders at Saints. Derek Carr out for the year again. See you later. Broke his hand, I believe. Not that it matters. So you got Jaden Daniels against the Rattler.
Wouldn't have mattered. It was Commanders all the way. Anyways,
I'm just saying. I agree. I agree.
You think Saints fans are like, oh no?
I honestly think they're like, no. I think they're. It's funny. Saints fans, when I see them actually like talk about football online, They seem to be very much the other thing of like, we suck and we know we suck, but we just, whatever's going to help us get better. Like, they're definitely not like Derek Carr fans and they don't care about Spencer Rattler. They're like, we just need something and we don't have it. So they're pretty much like, who cares at this
How
point?
about a loss to the Commanders?
There you go. With a higher draft pick. Then you got Chiefs at Browns.
Chiefs. Boy, it'd be funny if they lost.
It's a sneaky game. It's a sneaky game. I still am in the. I mean, okay. I just went to a huge rant that the Cleveland sucks. I did the whole chant at the beginning of this game. They do suck. They are kind of, but they suck against the Steelers because I hate them. Against any other team, I do think they are kind of sneaky good because Winston, he does throw the picks, but he gets the ball moving for them. The defense is still pretty solid.
The Steelers.
Exactly. In a blizzard. Doesn't really count. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. The Chiefs have been getting away with so much for so long. They should have lost 4 weeks in a row. Should have lost last week too. The kicker doinked it in. It's like, I don't know. I could see the Browns. I'm not going to pick them. I'm going to pick the Chiefs. But I could see the Browns winning this game because it just kind of has that feeling to it.
I see in your eyes you just want the Chiefs to lose so bad.
I do. And I think Jameis Winston has like he doesn't care. That's the Chiefs. He's going to go sling it no matter what. You know what I mean? So I think the Chiefs will win. Their defense is too good. But I don't know. Could be kind of sneaky, and I'll take it. I'd really take it.
The Lord may deliver a win.
It might, just for Jameis. Then you got Bengals at Titans.
All right, well, the Bengals are going to win, I guess. I don't know. Is this the road to them getting the 7th seed somehow?
I just saw a TikTok about that today, that there is a way to get it, but it involves a lot. But yes, there is a way for them to get it. They have to win out, obviously. Bengals win this, though. Then you got Dolphins at Texans.
I don't know. I kind of like the Dolphins here. They lost in Green Bay and they can't play in the cold and blah, blah, blah. And it's all falling apart. But I don't know. The Texans have just been kind of, yeah. And I feel Tyreek's been getting catches again. Waddle, who people have said has disappeared. I mean, his numbers are slowly going back up. Jonnu Smith is having a career year. And Tua's got 17 touchdowns, 4 picks. His passer rating is over 100. It's top 10, top 5 in the league.
Yeah, it's saved my fantasy season.
Come on. I mean, like, let's go Dolphins.
I hear everything you're saying. I think I'm going to go Texans. It's hard to pick against the home team, one, but this was their bye week. And I think they know everything that has been said about them and how they're trying to fix that and improve upon it. I mean, they got to come out strong, right? They've had 2 weeks prepared for this game. So I think I'm going to go Texans on this because they just came off a bye week and at home. So I'm going to go with Houston on this one. Then you got Ravens at Giants.
Ravens.
Yeah.
Next.
Jets at Jags.
Boy, the Jags somehow won last week with Mac Jones. I'm going to pick the Jets and just shoot myself in the face for picking them. Like, they're going to lose in overtime, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be sitting on the sideline just scowling.
And he's like, I can't wait till I'm off this team. I don't know who messed this up. Can't be me. Not my fault. I'm going to go Jets as well, but I also don't care. I'm going to go Jets so I can tell Sam that his favorite team won because Sam picked the Jets because his favorite color is green and airplanes are cool. So I'm tired of telling him every week that the Jets lost. I'm picking the Jets.
You can teach him about like chakra and enigma and inner peace, and
he should just, or he could just be a fan of the Steelers instead. So stop the Jets.
Yeah, we'll see.
Then you got Cowboys at Panthers. Do it.
Panthers.
Yes. Panthers. They should have won the last 3 games. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They should have.
Well, the NFL had to make sure one of those didn't happen.
Well, for sure. And then they lost the Bucks in overtime. And then I don't know if you saw he threw it deep to Xavier Legette, who I love. Xavier Legette, the one that drafted him, but he dropped it.
Well, he didn't.
Man,
it was when he.
Yes.
Yeah,
it was like
it was a tough catch.
Yeah, totally.
And plus,
it did count.
Maybe he would have caught it if last week the NFL didn't literally take a touchdown away from Thielen. But I mean, whatever.
No, I agree. And Bryce Young has been playing way better, which is awesome because he like lost all his confidence.
Something
the
I
Cowboys
did not see coming.
hate themselves. Yeah, me either. And the Cowboys like all hate themselves. Micah Parsons wants to kill Jerry Jones in his sleep. So I gotta go Panthers.
Just seeing that game, last night, Bengals Cowboys, it almost looked like Mike McCarthy is just coaching to like almost next year be like, hey,
totally.
You see how I like brought this troop together and we went 7-10 somehow? Like, I'm not an idiot. Like,
except he's not winning these games, so that's the difference.
They're 5-8 though. They're not like 3-10.
Okay, so they can lose this one and still get to 7-10. Right. So yeah, they won't, but I want the Panthers to win. I don't know. Cowboys are imploding. Also, the Jets, I was going to say this too. I don't know if you saw, there's a rumor that Garrett Wilson wants to be traded out of there as well. So all these teams are just imploding on themselves already.
Yeah.
Makes for a fun offseason. Then you got Buccaneers at Chargers.
I think Buccaneers at Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to take this one.
I think so too. I think the defense is pretty good. Ladd McConkey not playing against the Chiefs, of course, really sucked and hurt for them.
Right.
But if he could come back for this game, I'll take Chargers as well.
It's so hard to choose the Chargers because, Herbert is throwing to lawn furniture. And
he is.
He only has 14 touchdowns this year, but he has 1 pick.
Yeah. He was.
I feel right away Harbaugh was like, listen, sorry.
Yes.
This is going to be this year.
He was throwing just rockets against the Chiefs, and I was really hoping they'd pull that one off. They did not, though. Then you got Colts at Broncos.
Broncos, I guess, but
in Denver, I'm going Denver. Yeah, in Denver, I'm going Denver. Right. I don't think the Colts are good either.
Broncos have something to play for. Bo Nix, kind of liking what I'm seeing so far, but I don't know.
It's a tough place to play. I also don't like anything about the Colts. I've never thought Anthony Richardson is good, and I still don't. So I'm gonna go Bo Nix. Then you got Patriots at Cardinals and the who gives a shit bowl.
Cardinals.
Yeah. Who cares? I don't know. Yeah, who cares?
Just the last like 4 we've done is just like, sure.
Okay, here's a good one then for you. Bills at Lions. I know who I want to win. I know who you don't want to win.
I know, man. I don't give a shit, man. We're gonna win again, man. We've got the people here, man. I'll strap up, man. Put me in at fullback, man. Lions are gonna win.
All right, Dan. In Detroit, it's gonna be tough too for the Bills, but it's indoors. Josh Allen's got that for him too. The Lions have how many players they have on IR on defense? Like 45. I don't know. It's crazy, but I'm gonna pick Lions because I'm manifesting. I'm basically manifesting a Chiefs loss this week and a Bills loss this week, and somehow Steelers can pull out the improbable and beat the Eagles. I'm sure it'll all be opposite. I'm sure Chiefs will win, Bills will win, and Steelers will lose, and then I won't care anymore. But I'm going to hold on to the hope that a 1 seed is in their future for now.
Well, I hope you're right.
Yeah, me too. Speaking of, then you got the Steelers at the Eagles. I'll just go first because, like I said, I logically do think they will lose, but I just won't pick against them, so I'm going to pick the Steelers. But I do think they'll probably lose this game.
I'm gonna buy into the bad vibes of the Eagles, and I'm gonna buy into like recency bias of the history of the Eagles. This is usually where they fall off during the year, so they're gonna fall off again. and
I
the
hope so.
Steelers are going to win.
You heard it here first from
Good
from
vibes
Derek
only.
himself, the prophet, Derek Fletcher. You got Packers at Seahawks. What do you say? What? Yeah, what?
Okay, Packers are going to win. Yes.
I don't think it's as close as Seattle's been kind of surprising me lately about how they have been playing. I don't. It's weird.
How they're
it's weird because
7-5.
No, they're 8-5 now. I think it's weird because I don't think Seattle's that good. I really don't, or at least I have this stigma about them. I don't think they're that good. But I watched the Seattle and Cardinals game because I really wanted the Cardinals to win because that's who I picked in my picks. And I was watching them. And I was like, well, hold on, Seattle's kind of kicking just the way they're playing. I was like, maybe they're kind of good. I don't know.
Well, Geno leads the league in passing yards, and Jordan Love can throw picks in a game if he needs to, and hopefully that happens, but I don't think so.
Seattle's got Tariq Woolen, Devin Witherspoon. They got some good DBs. Ooh, I don't know. I do not know. It's a tough one. I think the easy pick is Packers, but Seattle might win this one at home.
Do it.
I might go Seattle.
Okay.
I might go Seattle, and then I might change it later, but I might go Seattle.
Wow.
Let's go Bears at Vikings. 2 Monday night games. Kill me, man. It's too late in the year for this. But Bears at Vikings for one of them.
Okay. I mean, it has to be the Vikings. This is just another one of those, oh my God, please, Minnesota. Like, after you had the week you had, and even you had just 6 straight wins, and some of them were ugly, and then some of them have been like flashy, and one of them was against the Bears, but now you have them at home. Just beat them. Let's put it away, and let's keep fighting for that 1 seed. Maybe the Lions will eventually lose.
They could this week against the Bills. I'm still under the impression that just because I experienced it, the Vikings playing in Minnesota is a tough place to play. So I think being at home, that gets them the win for sure. It's really crazy that the Vikings could have 2 losses on the entire year, maybe 3, because I guess they play the Lions again. But they could have 2 losses on the year, 2 to 3, and be a 5th seed. This is insane.
But you could say the same for the Lions then.
No, for sure.
And then you could say the same for like the Packers too, where it's like, oh my gosh,
it's insane.
What a division.
Yeah,
go Bears. I mean, oh yeah, their ass.
Then to finish it off, you got who cares? Falcons at Raiders. Aiden O'Connell's leg was in an air cast, and then he was like, actually, I'm fine. So he's going to play, I think.
Well, that won't be enough. I know, I get it. Kirk is struggling. They're so bad, but I feel this is one that they are going to pull out and be 7-7.
Speaking of pulling out, I think it's time to whip out the Penix Jr.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like just them not playing him tells me something.
It tells me that they paid $180 million on a quarterback and don't want to give up for a rookie. I also was just trying to make a penis joke, but I mean, of course they're not going to bench Kirk. I'm gonna text you about that, but it's kind of mostly been a joke because they paid him $180 million. They're not going to bench him for a rookie who's 36. I don't know how old Penix is. I think he's older though, but they're not going to pay him. They're not going to bench him for that. Because like you said too, it's like why put him in a lost season? You could say to get to see what he has, but it also kind of means maybe that Kirk knows he's out the door if they were going to offload his contract. All this, I think if you ever saw Penix, that if they benched him for Penix to start, that probably means that Kirk's gone. So
right.
If that happens, then that happens, right? But yeah, I get you. Falcons.
I mean, if you're gonna get rid of Kirk, you're probably gonna want him to play the end of the year and kind of come back a little bit. Once again, he's still got numbers like 67% completion percentage. He's like top 5 in yards. I think he's number 2 in yards.
Sure.
He's just been throwing those picks this year.
Yeah.
And
well, last 4 games, I think last 4 games has been 0 touchdowns and 8 picks. So,
right. But he still pushes the ball down the field. Against Minnesota, he had like 340 passing yards. And
right.
I mean, but like that's what you're getting. You're getting a guy who can like put up big numbers, but then somehow, you're 6-7 and you're looking at not making the playoffs when you kind of
totally.
were the favorites to make the playoffs.
Well, we'll see what happens. Will I be watching that game? Probably not. But we'll see you guys next week. We'll talk about the Steelers Eagles, the Steagles, if you will, the 1930s, and we'll preview the Ravens game for the division. You can follow the Northern Steel Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, MySpace, GoFundMe, GoDaddy, Daddy Go, and Google.org. Derek, give me last words for the people.
Gemini.
Oh.
You can ask Gemini about us.
Yeah, guys, ChatGPT, how much you should be paying Northern Steel to listen to their content, and it's going to be a lot.
It's a lot.
It's going to be a lot.
Cousins numbers. Her cousin's money.
Yeah, that's the kind of content you're going to hear, people. So,
not Russell Wilson money.
Absolutely not. Do you have any last words for the people, Derek?
Don't lose to the Eagles. Don't fuck this up.
Yeah, I like that. It's very simple. Just don't lose. You have the same last words as Chris, except Chris was like, "Here we go. We're going to win." And yours is like, "Don't lose."
To quote the Philadelphia hero, Rocky's wife, Adrian, just win.
Oh, that's pretty good. To quote the famous Philadelphia monument, dong. That's a bell joke. All right, see you guys next week. Deuces.